when are you going to talk to Tidwell about murdering Edgar Elton? And he said, Jerry, we'll get to it. Well, he calls me up one day and he said, I got some bad news. I said, what is that, Tom? He said, Jerry, we approached Troy Tidwell on the death of Edgar Elton, and he took the fifth. I said, excuse me? He took the fifth? I said, well, where does that put us? Where does that put me and Bill Price and three others that witnessed this death? He said, it put you here. You approached the state attorney, the 14th district where he lives, and you talk with him because he is the only man that can arrest Troy Tidwell. And, Ed, you don't think for 1 minute that that state attorney, who is an elected official, would do anything about this, sir?
Well,
with the whole county yelling at his ass over the school being closed. I knew that nothing would happen, and he ignored me, Ed. He wouldn't even correspond with me, Ed.
Okay, can I ask a question?
And
now,
go ahead.
They're telling you that he can only be arrested by the district attorney in the county that he's living in now, and not
because he is under the fifth. I was explained to me by the FDLE. Glenn Hess. I'm going to use his name. He won't even talk to me. Okay. Glenn Hess has to be the one that would go to Troy Tidwell or either issue a warrant for his arrest.
Okay, the question I'm trying to ask is very important. Now, is that the same jurisdiction of where the crime took place, where the school was?
Yes,
okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to clarify. Now,
because of who he is and where he lives and how these people are intermingled with each other, they will not do anything.
Okay, I can understand.
And the same with the FDLE, okay? You've got the FDLE, which is the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, investigating Florida. It's like putting the fox in charge of the hen house. They're not going to find wrong. That's why it needs to go to a federal level.
Okay.
An independent investigation needs to be done.
Now this county. No, wait, one second. This county, where this school is located, what is the population of that?
It's Jackson.
Jackson County. Then what's the population of that? That's pretty large, right?
Of Marianna?
Yeah.
Or the county? Marianna's probably about, what do you figure, 10, 12,000?
Yeah, about 10,000, right? Okay.
I'm not absolutely sure about their population at this point.
8,000 of them worked at that school.
One more time?
I said I think 8,000 of them worked at that school.
Right. No, I can believe it. This was like the biggest employer in that town. If there's 10,000
they were the biggest employer. And Ed, this is what is sad. This is what's sad. These people get in their local newspaper up there, and they blame us because the school was shut down back in 2011 and cost them all these jobs. My answer to that is this. We didn't do nothing. You're the ones that did it. You're the ones that closed your own school. The Justice Department grabbed you, and now you want to blame the White House boys because you're in the economical trash right now.
Okay,
I'm sorry, but we didn't do it.
And
they did it for their actions.
In 2011, what was the population of the students at the school there, the Florida School for Boys?
It had dropped drastically. I'll tell you why. It had dropped drastically because at that time that school was only open on the white side. The black side had been shut down totally. The white side then had fences around it, like a prison, of course, which it didn't when we were there.
They went too harder. Well, as we've graduated in society, the kids have become a lot more dangerous. I'll use that word because, with drugs, here you got 10-year-old kids down in Palm Beach going into a store to rob somebody with a gun. Okay? But that's how kids are now.
Right. But my question is...
And so this whole place now is fenced with razor wire and everything else. But when we were there were no fences.
But my question is... Wait, one second. My question is, how many students were there at the end, right around the time that they closed? How many?
don't know, but
I can tell you. I can tell you
approximately.
I can tell you approximately, probably around 200. And let me tell you why they were there.
No, wait. Wait. Now I have another question. And the question is, what was the budget for this school around the time that it was closed? Do we know that?
The budget?
Yeah.
I saw something somewhere where that was because now it's totally state funded.
Right.
They weren't funding themselves. So the budget was like $1.5 million a year.
Okay.
I don't know for a fact.
Okay, $1.5 million.
I think I read that somewhere. But when we were there, the budget there at that time was probably about $50,000.
No, I got you. I can understand that. No, but now, $1.5 million in a
because
town
it was self-sufficient.
In a town of 10,000 people, $1.5 million budget a year for this school. Now, how many people were they employing toward the end when they were being closed up?
It would be hard for me.
Roughly.
Would be hard for me to say because of the amount of boys that were there that time. But here's the kicker, Ed, that you hadn't heard from me yet. Guess what those boys were there for at that time when the school was closed? You're not going to believe this. They were being treated for sexual offenses.
Mm.
And listen to this. One of the women's staff was arrested for having sexual indemnities with one of the boys, and she got arrested. Hello. You follow me?
Yeah, I do follow you. Yeah, obviously the school was a haven for pedophiles and stuff like that. Now,
absolutely.
Now, real quick. Now, back to the lawsuit. Okay, it was filed in 2008, and the defendant, one of the defendants was Tidwell, and the Department of Agriculture, and the state of Florida. Now, Tidwell, what was his role at the school?
He was a superintendent for. He started there as wasn't he a cottage father to start with?
I think that he actually worked on one of the crews, if I'm correct, for a while.
I think he was a janitor for a while when he first came there.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
and then he graduated all the way up until he became a superintendent.
What year
became superintendent?
Education. Well,
he actually was head of home life at the time he was beating all these children.
Right.
And at one time he was a cottage father, which that was some of the boys that had him for a cottage father told me the most horrible stories that I don't even want to talk about. I don't even want to discuss that, man. With his relationship, he had a cottage that was full of kids up to about 11 or 12 years old. I got a letter from one of the White House boys that some of these kids, Ed, had, with all that was going on, you're not going to believe, a lot of them were bedwetters. And you can understand that, because of their treatment and everything.
Scared out of their minds.
Yeah. Troy Tidwell, this boy told me the whole story. He said, Jerry, I'm not going to lie. I started wetting the bed because I was afraid to even get up and go to the bathroom at any time. And he said he used to make me carry my mattress when I wet it. I would have to carry that mattress all the way to the laundry. And I was 11 years old, and I couldn't hardly carry the damn thing. I mean, what kind of animal would do that? What kind of an animal, Ed?
Yeah, well, bedwetting is an indication of sexual abuse, too, and child abuse.
Oh, absolutely.
Kids that are being abused will wet their bed. Now,
yes.
So now Tidwell started out, you said, as a janitor-type position, and he worked his way up all the way to a director's position and an executive position in the now, what are some of the allegations against Tidwell and his crimes?
Okay.
Well, first thing you need to know,
sexual abuse is number one.
He was one-armed.
Oh, he only had one arm.
Yeah.
Right. He lost one in a tractor accident or something when he shotgun at 7 years old. Yeah.
Okay.
And let me tell you a conversation, Ed.
His arm He was a strong man, just using one arm.
Oh, my God. He grabbed you with that arm, buddy.
You did. That's the one you did not want to beat.
Okay, but now what are some of the allegations? And why was he the only one charged, the only defendant? You couldn't find anybody else?
Alive.
He was the only one left alive. What are some of the allegations against him?
Do what?
What are some of the allegations against Tidwell?
Well,
beating children, definitely number one.
Okay.
And also, during these sexual investigations, I was not aware of until his name kept coming up to me by other White House boys, a serious sexual predator. Serious sexual predator.
Yeah.
He has been named.
I never really had any privy to information about the boys getting raped and stuff like that, because I wasn't part of them. That never happened to me.
Right.
And, they never even indicated they were going to do that to me. And, but later on, in later years, I find out that this stuff went on all the time. And I had my suspicions, and I know that some of the older boys, when they were left alone with some of the younger boys, they even were guilty of it.
Oh, yeah,
But
that goes without saying. That's going to happen, yeah. Now,
I had a man to call me the other night, and I really feel sorry for this guy, Ed. He lives out in Oregon State, and he's a loner. He was married one time, seriously sexually abused to the worst way possible. He even admits in his letter to me, and he told me, you can tell anybody you want. I don't have a problem with it because I have suffered all my life. He said, Jerry, what I went through there at such a young age and was there so long, I myself, when I left that school, became a homosexual. I said, well, I'm not going to down you for that because, that's just not my position, but you're welcome to talk to me. He said, my life has been so miserable knowing that I ended up the way that I am because what was done to me. And I said, I believe everything you're telling me, and I see how it's very possible. He said, I even managed years and years ago, I got married. It didn't last 2 months. I said, well, I can understand that, sir. And he said, I just want you to know, my life would have probably been so different if I hadn't endured at such a young age of that type of abuse that was done to me. And he even named his perpetrators. He named his perpetrators, which I know at least 3 of them was there when I was a ward at that school.
Okay, let me ask you this. Now, how many plaintiffs were there in this lawsuit?
There actually, the number of the White House boys, when we first started, Ed, numbered a little over 500, I think, that were still alive and involved as a White House boy. Through the years now, I think we probably lost we've probably lost how many, Bill, due to deaths over the last probably 100.
I think we lost about 7 or 8 last year.
Okay, but you had a lawsuit in 2008. How many complainants were there in the lawsuit?
Whatever the amount that the lawyers had, as White House boys.
Oh,
I think there was about 500.
Okay, but 500.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a class action suit then. Okay. Now, how many depositions and statements and complaints did you get from the victims?
Oh my God! Oh my God! I have got a computer. I've got 2 gigs of files in here, Ed. 2 gigs.
Okay, how many complaints is that? How many affidavits do you have?
You're talking several hundred. If I had to number it down, I would say probably 500 to 600 or more.
Okay.
And then as we went along with our program, 2 years later, a White House boy, not knowing what was going on, would call me and say, Jerry, I didn't know all this was going on. I just heard it on the news. And, of course, I would get him signed up. You know what I mean? And he would tell me his story, and I would forward that story to whoever's necessary that needed to hear it. And I have to live with this, Ed, every day of my life.
What was the?
And I'm not bitching about it. I knew what it was going to involve when I first got in.
What was
and I will finish this thing somehow.
Okay. What was the